If you want to maximize your Minecraft performance and render distance, you need more than just Optifine or Sodium. In this video, I'm guiding you through the installation of the trinity of world loading: c2me for multi-threaded generation, Chunky for pre-generation, and Voxy for massive LOD rendering. Lastly, we're going to use a specific branch of Photon shaders to really bring it all together. It's a specific setup, but the results are insane. Let's jump straight into the installation. Welcome back to the Modrinth app. This is the launcher I use for Minecraft. We're going to spin up a new instance here, fresh install of Minecraft, and then we'll start adding mods to it. So let's create a new instance. We're going to call it, let's call it c2me test. We're going to switch our loader to Fabric because that's what I generally use, and we're going to use version 1.21.10. You probably could use 1.21.11, but just to be safe, we don't have to worry about any compatibility issues. We're going to stick with this. And we'll click Create, and off we'll go. And our new instance shows up in the sidebar, so let's start downloading some mods here. Now right on the page, as soon as we click to it, there are a couple that we need. We do need Sodium, so we're going to add that. And we also need Iris shaders, so we'll add those as well. Mod menu is going to be necessary just so we can navigate in the game. Lithium is a common performance mod. We're going to use that as well. And now let's search for Chunky, because we're certainly going to need that in order to pre-generate our chunks. Next up, we're going to download c2me, or Concurrent Chunk Management. You're going to make sure to get the version for Fabric here. And we're going to add Voxy finally. I think it's our last mod that we're going to need to add here. Now you will see there are a couple items here that were added by Modrinth, by the app, because they're dependencies for other mods. In our case, I'm talking about the text placeholder API and Fabric API specifically. Now we do need one more item, and unfortunately it's not available through the Modrinth app. We need a specific version of Photon shaders that is made to work with Voxy. And to get that, we need to take a trip over to GitHub, so let's do that now. And you'll see here, I just did a simple GitHub Photon search on Google, and what we want is the Photon project by 6th Surge. Once we load up the GitHub page, we want to go to the top left here where it says Iris Stable. We want to change that to a different branch. We want to go to the branch called Voxy Support, and then we're going to go up to this green code button up here. And when we get up there, we can switch it over to a zip file, and that will download the shader file to your computer. Once you've downloaded it, you just want to put in your shader folder in the Minecraft instance that you are playing. And now you'll see that the shaders, the Photon Voxy support file, is showing up in the Modrinth app under our instance. So I think we are all set here. Let's click play and we'll spin up our new Minecraft instance here. I have gone ahead and lowered the volume so it's not at a bothering level. And I also changed the UI scaling, but otherwise this is a fresh Minecraft install here. And if we go into video settings, just point out I've changed render distance, max shadow distance, and simulation distance all to 12 chunks. I've turned off VSync and I've made max frame rate set to unlimited. Normally I actually play with it limited to 120. It keeps it pretty stable, and that way when I output videos at 60 frames per second, the math is easy. But in this case, since we want to see how many frames we can get, we're leaving it at unlimited for today. In the Voxy settings, I'm leaving everything at the default, so the render distance is 512. Voxy is enabled, obviously. Everything else is default. So let's make our new single player world here. We're going to go into creative. Let's call the world c2me plus Chunky plus Voxy plus Photon. And I think that's a pretty good Photon. I think that's a pretty good descriptor there. Let's turn the difficulty to peaceful, just so we're not worried about mobs. And we're going to put a simple seed in for our world, just one that I can remember. We're going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll spin up this world. So the initial chunks have loaded. I think it's time to start getting some work in. We're going to open the command prompt or the chat or what we want to call it, and we're going to type chunky, and we're going to do shape. And these will auto-complete, by the way, if you hit tab. Just type a few letters in, hit tab, it'll finish it up. But we're going to do shape, and then we're going to do circle. Now, this probably isn't necessary. I believe its default shape is set to circle, but I'm just doing it to be explicit. Now we're going to do another chunky command. We're going to set the radius. So we're going to do radius, and then we're going to do 512, and we're going to put a C afterward for chunks. If you didn't put a C afterwards, it would do a radius of 512 blocks. But in this case, I want to do chunks, so we put the C in. Now, when we execute this command, we're going to see chunky tell us the radius is 8,192. That's 8,192 blocks. It just did the conversion for us. Now all that's left to do is run chunky and the command start. We're going to get a progress bar on the top part of the screen there. It's going to tell us how long it thinks roughly it's going to take to fill in these chunks, and then we're going to see the chunks filling in behind us, created by Chunky or pre-generated by Chunky, but Voxy is actually doing the rendering. They're rendering as LODs, not as full quality chunks. Now, when we did this without c2me installed in the previous video, I believe it ended up taking about 3 hours. In this version, it took about 42 minutes was the case. The timer switched a little bit as we progressed, but I kept track, and 42 minutes is about right. Now you will see there's a black area behind us in between the regular chunks and the LODs. We can get rid of that by doing a simple Voxy import command, and we're going to do import world and just select the name of this world, and that'll basically fill in the chunks. And you'll see after about 184 seconds or 3 minutes, it finished and all of the world is rendered correctly. So now to get the full effect, let's turn on shaders in video settings, and we're going to select our Photon Voxy support file. And here we are, Elytra and rocket equipped, so we can explore our new beautiful world. Let's spam some rockets a little here. I don't think it's going to matter. I can't imagine there being any issues, but figure might as well try. There is a lot of ambient fog. I haven't changed any settings, so it's, reducing our view a little bit. But you can see we're getting a solid 100 frames per second here. It looks great behind us. It looks great ahead of us. I really have no complaints. This is awesome. Now, one thing you may be able to see is the line of demarcation between the normal chunks and the LODs where they convert from one to the other. If you want to see that less, you could just increase your render distance, increase it up to 32 or something. That way the line still exists, but it's further out in the distance and you won't notice it as much. Now, as awesome as this looks with shaders, I do want to test it without shaders as well. I actually usually don't play with shaders. I like playing sort of the good old-fashioned way. So let's turn shaders off and we'll see what kind of performance we're getting. So here we are back in a shaderless version of this Minecraft world, and as you can see, when I use F3, we're getting about 225 frames per second, give or take. We're going up above 300 sometimes, and as low into the high 100s, but 200 looks about where we're hanging out, which is pretty great, honestly. Considering how sort of far our render distance is and how many LODs we have, I'm pretty happy with this. One thing to remember and keep in mind is that the performance you get with or without shaders is greatly going to depend on the hardware you're running. I'm running an NVIDIA 5060 Ti with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I have a i7 14th generation, full desktop processor, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. So I think that we're going to call that a video, folks. I really appreciate you tuning in and watching. If you liked the video or if it helped you in any ways, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. If you're looking for any other kind of Minecraft content, I do have a Let's Play series called Mediocre Minecraft. It is, in fact, just that, very mediocre Minecraft. But if you're interested, so inclined, please check it out. Otherwise, I wish you all well, take care, and I'll see you next time.